Welcome back. We're having our third and final conversation for the morning, and it's all about Hicatee Awareness Month. We are joined by the Wildlife Conservation Society. We have with us Miss Eden Cruz. She is the Communications Assistant of Wildlife Conservation Society Belize. And to her left is Jaren Serrano, and he is a Hicatee Program Coordinator. And over to my right, we have with us Yamira Fuentes, and she is the Technical Assistant of Terrestrial Wildlife Conservation Society Belize. And also with us is Dr. Donald McKnight, and he is from Savannah Fuel Station. Good morning and welcome, guys.
Good morning.
All right, Hicatee Awareness Month. Obviously, this is a conversation that we should be having because of the species of Hicatee and the importance of preserving it. So let's have the conversation. Let's start it there.
Okay, thank you for having us once again. Well, just a brief history about Wildlife Conservation Society. We've been in Belize since 1981, and we work to protect wildlife and wild places through education, conservation action, science, and inspiring people to value nature. We currently own and operate the Glover's Reef Research Station in Middle Key down south in Glover's Reef. And we also manage the Maya Forest Corridor, which is one of the habitat for the protected species, which is the Hicatee, which we're going to discuss today. So more about what we do, I'll pass it over to my colleague, Yamira.
And I am I work in the terrestrial part. I do some of the research and monitoring for the Hicatee within the central Belize, Cox Lagoon. And we've also brought along with us our colleagues, our partners from Be Free, Jaren, and also Donnie from Savannah Fuel Station that we've worked together from like 2019. So we're familiar with each other, and really our Hicatee conservation activities have begun around 2018, 2019. When we were trying to work to get some kind of conservation action and effort towards it, understanding the species, its status in Belize. And we couldn't do the effort just ourselves as WCS. We needed partners, we needed some experience, we needed research, we needed, and so that's where, you know, Be Free and Savannah Fuel Station came together, and we kind of did an effort in 2019 to have done some level of research within the area. So, Jaren, I think you can introduce.
Yeah, so my name is Jaren again. This initiative started off, let me backtrack a bit. So I work at Biological Field Station in southern Belize, specifically in the Toledo district. And one of our missions as an organization is to help protect the biodiversity and cultural heritage of Belize by incorporating local communities in our conservation initiatives. So one of my goals as program coordinator is to help promote countrywide recognition of this critically endangered turtle, as well as educate others about its plight, and also working with the fishing communities and various stakeholders to help save the Hicatee turtle from extinction. And Hicatee Conservation and Hicatee Awareness Month basically started not as like a campaign. It started off to from a film that was filmed by renowned wildlife filmmakers Carol and Richard Foster. And the purpose of this film was to advocate and highlight the conservation efforts that is happening to help save this turtle. And from that, with sponsorship from the Turtle Survival Alliance, there was a partnership that blossomed, and we were promoting this video all around Belize, and to make people become more aware, right? So that then led to the following year, teachers and students and different institutions were like, hey, are you guys doing this again? And then that then led to the Hicatee Awareness Month campaign. So it started in 2017, 2018, like what Yamira said. So it's the 7th year now, and we're proud to be on the show, and we're proud to advocate for the protection of this turtle.
Why is it important for us to conserve and protect this species of turtle? Sure, I'll jump in on that one. So the Hicatee obviously has huge cultural significance here in Belize, going all the way back to the Mayans. Biologically, it's also really unique. It's the last member of its family. There's only one member of its family in the whole world, and so it's a very biologically unique animal. It's very different from other turtles. It also, we think, plays really important roles in the ecosystem. So Hicatee are herbivores. They only eat plants. And they're really important at actually removing like fallen leaves and fruits and stuff in the waterways and kind of recycling those nutrients. And historically, they would be found at really high densities. They used to be very, very common. Every time we talk to like villagers and fishers, they tell us how, when they were kids, they could go out in an hour and catch a Hicatee and come back. And now they see almost none of them. And so it really seems like the populations have just dramatically declined over the last couple of years, or the last several decades. And so we really want to understand more about this turtle and make sure that we keep them around for future generations and don't have them go extinct from them.
How do we balance that aspect of it against what one would say is traditional, that people consume this particular turtle?
It's a delicacy for some communities.
How do you find that balance?
Yeah, that's a real hard one, and I welcome everyone else to jump in on that. Because for sure, we're not going around saying never eat a Hicatee, because we understand it's got this long cultural significance, and it's so important for Easter holiday and everything. So what we're really trying to do is raise awareness about what's going on with the species. And try to have sensible guidelines so that we can keep the species around, but it's still a species available for people. Because again, we know like it's so culturally important here. We don't want to just say never eat a Hicatee.
Yeah. And I love that Isani asked that question, because actually at the start of the show, when we told our viewers that would be a segment, that was the first thing that I asked. Isani, do you eat Hicatee? Because for a lot of people, that's a delicacy. As I told Isani, they have Belizeans in the diaspora that come to Belize just to get their Hicatee meat during the Easter time as well. So my question, indeed, just like Isani, is how do you spread that awareness that this is a species that we need to protect, or else you won't be able to consume it at all in the future?
So pretty much just like how you said it, it's for me on a personal level. I understand the tradition and the culture because, as a Hispanic person in Belize, there are certain things that I hold dear and near to me when it comes to consuming my own cultural food. So I understand the rural communities when they want to consume their turtles. And it is, I've done a social survey in 2019, and Easter is that very popular time. I always associate it to say Belize City people like to eat turkey dinner for Christmas. Rural Belize people like eat the Hicatee for Easter. And that's a hard thing to take away from these people. But what I learned from this survey is that consumption is not what it used to be back in the 70s and 80s when it was on the market regularly, like you can go to the fish market and buy a turtle. It's not prevalent anymore. Our laws now stipulate some sort of bag limit or some sort of consumption limit, and also a closed season that helps us to regulate. Some of the issues that we don't have manpower to enforce some of these things, and you have your little bad apples that overdo many of the times. I've gone into the communities and I've spoken to historical hunters that says, it's just so difficult to do it now. We're not getting it as the way we're getting it anymore. It's become difficult. Now it's just easier to buy chicken or beef or pork. And you also have a generation coming up that is not consuming some of that game species as regularly as their, grandparents are. And I think some of that is helping us. So I think some of that is helping us strike some level of balance. And for us at WCS and some of our other partners, our tune is letting people know the status of it being critically endangered and giving you that knowledge for you to decide for yourself what you want to do, what you decide. Like I always tell people, your small action makes a big difference in the long term. It is up to, the community people to decide, this year I'm going to maybe abstain from eating, my usual Easter meat. Or, this time we're only going to eat one. We're not going to eat 2, 3, 4. Being consciously aware of how much they eat. And that goes, beyond just the Hicatee, but any regulated species such as conch, lobster, it is upon the consumer at that point to decide how they want to regulate their own consumption. Because at the end of the day, it's if you want to impact your own culture and tradition, later on in the future. It's if you want your kids to experience this in the future, or even, you know, at one time speak about, oh, you know, at one time we used to eat the Hicatee, we no longer anymore because, you know, it's critically endangered. But it is there for them to visually see it when they go out in their rivers, when they do their canoeing. It's, you know, some people in the community tell me it's really hard to get our children to understand our aspect of living. They don't want to live the farm life and the rural life anymore. They're transitioning to going to college and university and working in the city and out. So I think that helps us strike a balance, and us continuing that effort of giving them education and outreach, let them understand what's really happening with the species.
Yeah, to piggyback off that as well, like a part of our initiatives as conservation organizations is to also work with the different schools and different communities to promote this sense of educational outreach and awareness about the species, in hopes that the next generation could take on that torch of having that conservation mindset, not just a practice, you know, like you could start something and stop it, but if you have a mindset, that's forever, right? So we're trying to promote that mindset for us to have another generation that is environmentally conscious, and we feel like those little acts could then help change the trajectory of this turtle that's being intensely harvested.
We saw a photo of you guys doing outreach at a primary school. My question is, what is the reaction of these children when you explain the importance of saving these turtles?
So yeah, last week, just to backtrack a bit, we visited, to start our outreach campaign, we visited 14 schools in 5 days and reached a total of about 581 students in the western part of Belize, in areas where Hicatee is notorious for being harvested. And working with the communities, one thing when working with children, you always get like some very interesting questions.
Yeah, exactly.
And real and honest response.
And real and honest response. So it was very mind-opening, and also there is a lot of students in these fishing communities are very familiar with Hicatee harvesting and Hicatee consumption, and their reaction was, some of them were like, man, I didn't even know that there were conservation organizations out here advocating for the species, and I feel like it definitely opened their minds, and that's the start. Yeah.
And you get the real responses, oh, my dad catches Hicatee and we eat it at home. Or you get some response, my mom and dad likes to eat it, but I don't like to eat it. So you get, you know, generally different reaction from the kids, but you get that honest, you know, you get a lot of honest reactions. And then you get some kids that have no idea of it, you know, especially when you're working sometimes with kids in the Belize City area, they're not familiar with it. And you bring light to them and they would ask the question, people really eat those? And that's like, you know, a funny reaction, you know. I mean, some people eat pig, hello. But we don't think about it like that.
No, we don't, especially around Christmas time.
You know, cows, you know, and so it's out of the norm sometimes for especially more of the rural, some of the city and in the towns. And then when you go back to the rural community, you see the difference. And you also see some of those responses like, yeah, I don't want to eat it. So it's just more of like my parents eat it. And that's some of the responses.
My reservation when it comes to Hicatee. I'm good at
Yeah, we had that conversation. I mean, I come from a rural community, and I can tell you that my generations before me definitely consumed that. I have family members, as I mentioned, that would come from the diaspora, and they come during Easter time for the horse race and the Hicatee meat. While I represent the generation that's more reserved, but I embrace what was a part of my culture as well. So I know that it's important for us to have this conversation, especially in communities where it was traditional. And that's why I asked, how do you break that tradition? So my next question would be, what are the activities that we can look forward to for this month as Hicatee Awareness?
Okay, well, one of the activities that WCS is hosting, we have 2 activities online. The first one is the Hicatee Trivia Contest for adults, open countrywide. And it's basically we're having people just answer 8 basic, simple questions about the Hicatee. One of the main goals of this is to bring awareness of the Hicatee, let them do a little research, and that inspiration is to win prizes. So first place is 300, 200, second place, third place 100, fourth place visit to St. Herman's Cave. and fourth place a gift basket from Audubon Society. And I, of course, want to thank our sponsors who help us make this event possible. Ministry of Blue Economy and Civil Aviation, BEL, and Belize Audubon Society. The second event that we're having is very special and dear to me, is the Trivia Art Contest, which is geared towards children. And it's basically a recycle art contest. We're trying to get kids to be creative, but also let them gain a little bit more awareness about the Hicatee. And so it's for them to design or create a Hicatee turtle using recycled materials from home, such as like maybe plastic bottles, bottle caps, tins, anything that they can find that they can recycle and make a Hicatee. And so they will do this, and then they'll do a little video, post it up, and just display their art, say their name, and give at least one fact about the Hicatee, maybe what they learned. So this is to inspire kids. They have to go online, research, see how a Hicatee look like, and try to incorporate that design to make their little recycled art as similar as possible to a Hicatee turtle. And to inspire the kids, our first place is, of course, a tablet, because, you know, kids love tablets. Second place, we have a nice gift basket from BL. It has some electronics, some art supplies, school supplies, etc. And third place is a gift certificate to ENR, because, you know, kids need supplies. School is about a month off. And again, our sponsors are the same. And so we just want to encourage everybody to try, well, the adults to try their best at the trivia contest. Of course, with these contests, we ask to follow the page and share the information. And of course, we really want to encourage the kids. The contest is open for children between the ages of 7 to 12. So we really want to maybe reach out to the schools and the children, the ministry, to try to share this contest, social media and WhatsApp groups, to encourage the children to be more active and get that information out there about the awareness of the Hicatee. Well,
we know that both activities, as you mentioned, will spark the conversation. Yes. They will have these persons doing their research, and ultimately that's the goal of this awareness campaign, is to have persons learn more about the Hicatee and why we should be preserving them.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I was also going to add that conservation effort is it's like a team sport, right? It's teamwork. So our organization as well, Be Free, is not only doing outreach by visiting schools, but we're working with the local communities. For example, in Gales Point, we'll be hosting at the ending of the month community engagement initiative by hosting, or pretty much just presenting on the turtle, and just having a whole event down there to just get a feedback with the community, have them know about what we're doing. And also, we're also going to be not just advocating on media shows, but we'll be out in the fields conducting field work at the ending of the year. So that is exciting, because we then get to have a updated assessment of what the population is in Belize, you know. So look out for more things coming up in terms of Hicatee conservation in Belize.
All right. Nice. Any last words?
And I think, Don, maybe you can highlight your article. The article.
Oh, yeah, so we just had some research come out on the Hicatee. It turns out, just in a quick plug, they're actually really social. They actually move around and stay together in groups in the water, which is a really novel behavior for turtles that we didn't know a lot about. So we just had a research article came out, and National Geographic and a couple others highlighted it. So it's a really interesting turtle. There's a lot more to learn about. And we all need to work together to preserve this species and make sure it stays around for future generations.
And Don is from a newly formed Savannah Fuel Station here in Belize. I think you guys are up and running since about, what, 2020?
Yes, it's what, 2020, yep. We're all over social media, so look up Savannah Field Station on Facebook and Twitter and everything, and follow along with what we're doing with Hicatee.
Yeah. In closing, I just also want to add that in terms of Hicatee consumption and harvesting, as Belizeans, we're not eating this turtle because we have to, right? Like, it's, to me personally, I find it sad that this turtle is critically endangered. It's the only turtle in its family lineage. And we're consuming this turtle because it tastes nice, you know, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
So I hope that with awareness campaigns like this, we could help the local communities be more mindful of their actions when it comes to over-harvesting of this turtle.
Yeah. Jaron, that's the perfect closing to guilt our viewers into not consuming Hicatee. But thank you guys so much for joining us. We thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, and we look forward to the activities and trivia competitions and art competitions that's set to take place this month.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
All right, we're going to take our final break, and when we come back, we wrap things up.